Good morning. Sorry about the bad light and the stuff. Hang on a sec. Let me just move this a little more. There. I've been playing with lights and stuff. The lighting is bad. It makes shadows that don't make me look worse. Like the last stream is like the lighting's really bad and a really unflattering angle. But it's okay if it makes you look better, but like it makes me look worse. But I am working on the lighting. It's just one of those fucking constant battles, right? Moving to phone makes it a little bit trickier because you kind of, anyway, can't control the system. Usual crap. I just got to play with stuff. And obviously I got to do it with $0. So I'm not going to sort of spend money on lights. I've already got lights. And I'm trying to work with what I've got. So it's like sometimes you'll see extremely unflattering angles and stuff because I've just put my things at the wrong angle and I haven't had time to prepare. And then you'll see, other times it's like, okay, all right. It depends on the angle and lighting. And I think you'd be surprised how just like the smallest shift in lighting can be very unflattering. So I know I scheduled this stream. This is part of the problem with scheduling streams ahead of time is that you don't know if you're in the mood to stream because I'm not really in the mood for it. But that's okay. I'll try to keep this one brief because I've got a lot to do. So I will just keep this one brief. But there was some stuff that I brushed on with the previous stream around this sort of whole AI thing. And I mean, obviously I've got 3 streams on this now, so there's a lot of information there already. I am going to try and put it into clips, but I don't have time for that stuff. So, whatever, I'm sure you'll live. Okay. But it's, I think the most important thing when we're having these conversations about AI, when we're having, okay, so online, you will meet a certain brand of idiot, I suppose, for lack of a better word. No. Fuckwits. Okay. You'll meet a fuckwit every so often. Okay. Well, not every so often, most of the time. So social media and Twitter, LinkedIn, it doesn't matter, right? Sometimes I think people get away from, argue on the internet. Hang on, let me just gather my thoughts a bit. Hang on. I need a minute to warm up. That's usually the case. And I got a piss at the beginning, which is great. I'm not complaining about people arguing on the internet, okay? If you've been on the internet for like 5 minutes, you'll understand that it doesn't matter what you say. Someone will have something to say about it. The dumbest things cause like religious wars. People are bored. People will sit and argue nonstop. It will never end, okay? Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Social media, to an extent, is a never-ending forum bump, okay? Now, if you weren't on forums in the olden days, people, what you had was on an internet forum, it was fairly, static, right? Threads would start up. The arguments would, you'd work through the arguments, okay? It would be there. People would read, they would contribute, you would back and forth, but eventually, just from this was from a community admin point of view, okay? How I would see it from a community admin point of view is that people will tire themselves out eventually, okay? People will say their piece, they will back and forth, they will argue, and then eventually people just get tired of it. They get tired of it, they move on, they get fatigued, okay? People just get tired of arguing over the same shit over and over and over again. So in a forum setting or a community setting, okay, not so much Facebook groups, but anything where there is a history and it is fairly static and it is fixed, okay? Anything like that, regulars in the community and members of the community will eventually tire themselves out and get sick of the same arguments over and over again. That's human nature. We all get bored, right? Even in, friendships, marriages, whatever. When you're in a good marriage, you learn to just let stuff go because you know it's going to go in a certain direction and you know that you just don't agree. You know that that's a cleavage in your relationship and you just sort of learn to navigate that and move on from it, right? You figure out that, but you still coexist. You still sort of don't jump on the landmines, right? So that was how your normal internet forum would go. Okay. Now, I didn't expect to talk about this. I always just go where I that's the point. It just seems like a good way to sort of explain this whole broader concept of arguing on the internet, how that history links to social media and how a lot of it is pointless, but it is not going to stop, and it doesn't end in a solution. And I think that that's kind of where you get into this idea that it's all, you kind of, I often joke that I've read the internet. I've finished the internet. I've been stuck on reruns since, 2014. That's a joke that I make, but I'm not lying when I say that I've seen the same memes, the same arguments, the same things over and over again. Each and every time there is a new cohort of people who have the same arguments. It gets boring after a while. It gets very dull after a while, okay? Like anyone who's on X at the moment and watching the same old dull shit like with Elon Musk, and it's like, this is tired. You can look this stuff up. Like Wikipedia will absolutely tell you, or anything, not even Wikipedia, just, you know what, AI bro, put it into your own AI, okay? Is it illegal? Are people who show up on the border illegal? They're not. It is not illegal to seek asylum. ChatGPT, any kind of AI will tell you that. Search engine will tell you that. You can search the tweet that I made. It is not illegal to seek asylum. And you will see multitude of resources. We are at a point where you don't need to argue as much on the internet because the information is easily discoverable, findable. Fuck, you can ask ChatGPT. You can log on and ask ChatGPT anything you like. You can take one of my tweets where I have said something, right? You can take a post and you can go, hey, ChatGPT, steelman this. Okay? I've thought about creating a little app actually, like a thing where it's like, steelman this tweet. Steelman this thing. What are they saying? Let's steelman this. And then ChatGPT sort of does that, right? That would be an easy script to do. That's just a prompt. I should do that. But I wanted to, so with the forums, right? Like I said, those were static. People would tie themselves out. Old members of the community would tie themselves out. They just learn not to do it. And then someone, when I say it's never ending forum bump, this is what I mean. New members would come into the community, okay, and they would come in and start some shit. So they'd start, this is how sort of the rhythm of being a community admin, especially for a large community, when you are running it, you have to learn to manage that so that it doesn't keep blowing up. Every online community has its handful of hot button things that end in in old wounds being open. It starts again. And sometimes what it takes is just someone new to come into the community and say something or ask a question or, fairly innocent or whatever, and it just starts a religious war. That is a law of gravity when it comes to the internet. Now, I've got a chapter on that in the book that I'm working on, if I ever get done. I was hoping to get it done by April. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to do that, but I'm trying my best. Okay. But there are certain things when you've got a level of experience around running these things and you have a sort of zoomed out view that every so often someone will come in, ask a fairly innocent question or a fairly benign question, and the old people go, oh, fuck, not this again, and they start, okay? Now, the role of a leader of that community is to go, this has been done to death, message people privately and go, it's not you, it's not personal. That's how you would manage it, right? You'd normally contact them and go, as long as they're not a troll, okay? How you would manage that is to message that person and go, you know what, like, this is a contentious thing in the community. If you want to be in it, you might want to just, knock it off a bit, right? Calm down, right? But it's, again, it's not like, because you want to de-escalate those religious wars in a healthy online community. Okay. What social media has done is that, so that would be called a forum bump. So a forum bump, right? So you've got your threads, okay? You've got your threads, and they show up obviously in terms of like the order in which there's activity, right? So usually what would happen with some of these like big religious threads is that you'll see them there. Again, I know it's weird that I have to explain like a forum here, but a lot of people we're actually at a point in the industry and where there is forgotten knowledge. It's not assumed that people are using internet forums anymore, okay? I think it's a fair assessment, which is, and a big part of the problem that I think we've got, especially with this new brand of like tech bros and internet users, is that I think some of us, we assume that people know. We assume that people know some of the stuff that has been memory holed from the good old days, like what the social contracts were, what the rules were, sort of these unwritten sort of rules of netiquette. Like a lot of people aren't familiar with some of these, the rules of Usenet. Like these are things that there's norms attached to these things that people aren't familiar with. Okay, they're new tools, especially like people who were not terribly active on social media or anything prior to active on the internet before social media. I think, again, we assume people know. And like we saw this with the pandemic, which is people who were not normally active online. You saw that those were the quickest people to melt. And they, because they hadn't built up muscles. Like I've built up muscles. Like I can, I'm a boss fight for this shit. But I think we need to cut people a little bit of slack and take the time and go, you know what? This is how a forum used to work. This is what a community admin would normally do prior to Facebook groups and social media, which was that the forums were closed. The community members were somewhat bonded to each other. It was an in-group. There was a social group there, okay? And so every forum, whenever you started it, it would have its sort of little wars, its little fights. Things would arc up every so often and flare up. But people would get over it. They'd stay or they'd leave the community and not come back. But over time, you'd build a cohesive group of people who would coexist and sort of, learn to let shit go and friendships and all that sort of stuff. You'd work through it, right? But again, you'd have someone sort of just land in the community forum, ask a fucking seemingly innocent question, and it would be on again. And what happens when someone posts on those threads is that the way that forum software worked was that the most recent stuff would go to the top, and then it would start again because people would see it. Even people who hadn't really seen the old thread, okay, You'd bump the forum thread, bump to the top, okay? That would happen and it would start over again. The argument would start over again. It's quite funny, actually, but these things were somewhat, again, you can predict some of this stuff. If you've been around long enough, you know that is a factor. And that is not a factor, a known problem, a known feature, a known feature of running a community like a forum, okay, pre-social media. What Twitter does, and, to an extent, Facebook groups isn't so bad, but, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, right, is that you've got a never-ending forum bump with an unlimited number of people, okay? So you look at something like the culture wars, right? I've called the culture wars the never-ending forum bump of shit that doesn't matter, right? And that's what it does. Like this whole turf gender critical the gender like bollocks. And you're seeing that with the DEI shit at the moment. Unless you've got, again, long view of these things, you'll think that these things have popped up out of nowhere, but they haven't. They've been going for forever, okay? The gender stuff goes pre-internet, but a lot of these issues, debates, flare-ups, a lot of them are, I've talked about cleavages before. They're just a cleavage in opinion. You're never going to agree. They come down to worldviews, okay, and how you see the world and how you operate through the world, okay. But what they do is sweeps up new people every time, and new people just say something. They have a thought. They have a tweet. Like you'll see these dickheads that are like, what is wokeism? It's like if you're talking about wokeism in 2024, you're a lame-o. You're absolutely lame. Like look it up. Google it. Ask ChatGPT. Seriously, like you are obviously just asking a question to get engagement, right? And the wrong kind of engagement. Like there are, like when you're talking about something like Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle, I think it is a very valid, even if you like the specials and you're across what they're trying to do, they're not, it is still hacky at this point, okay? The material that they're using is like hacky. For someone who's paid tens of millions of dollars for that stuff, that's comedy that is no better than most open mic nights, okay, when it comes to culture war shit, okay? You could look on any podcast bros fucking thing and get the same jokes, okay? That's the criticism. It's not that you're triggered or sensitive. It's like, no, it's just not, like, it's not good comedy, right? You expect better. You expect them to lead. Good comedians should be leading thought, not following, right? And that's just not pandering to a crowd, right? And so that's the thing about this whole never-ending forum bump that is like social media, which is that it never gets a chance. It never gets a chance to peter out. It never gets a chance to get tired, except for, people who are sitting there going, oh, fuck, not this again. But you'll see these issues where it's like, okay, it's done. We fixed it. We looked it up. It's done. It's over. Like, why are they still talking about this? Because what happened, and, the far right obviously exploit that, as does the media, which is that they've constantly got this cycle, this never-ending forum bump of tired old shit that has been, if you took 5 seconds to look it up, or steelman anything, right, that anyone is trying to say, you would be over it and you'd be doing something that actually matters rather than arguing on the internet. So my bigger point here is that when you're arguing on social media about issues that are of, that are cleavages, okay? So like, for example, AI, okay? So we're talking about worldviews here. When we're talking about AI, when we're talking about worldviews, we're talking about values, we're talking about things that have a lot of history, like someone like me who has a, 30-year, like long-term view of the overall direction that the internet has gone in. Like I've got 2 books I'm working on. If you want to support me or get me a publisher, I would love that. I can't do it, because I've got to, by the time I go to write, I'm so fucking exhausted that I can't, so it's like, if you become a patron and support me and give me enough money somehow to sponsor me to get these books done, then I can tell these stories. They're sort of half written, right? I know what I want to do, but I just can't get to them. I can't prioritize. But like, people who have a historical view of the internet and understand sort of the broader trends that have occurred here, understand that it is heading in a direction where it's not about the quibbles of law, it's not about the quibbles of copyright, it's not about the quibbles, the details or the semantics. Those semantics are going to be argued on the internet till the end of time, okay? Some of these things exist like they are. It's funny, actually, like when I did my advanced jurisprudence unit, right, in my law, I'm doing postgrad law, so, but the advanced jurisprudence unit. And it is hilarious to me, right, that people don't realize that a lot of these arguments that people are having, especially in the culture wars, are schools of thought that that have been arguing for hundreds of years, right? Realists versus positivists, natural lawyers versus realists, okay? Fucking all of that stuff. All right, critical theorists versus naturalists. All right, that's a normal. That's just, because they can't articulate those differences and they're mostly hijacking it for political gain and personal gain. I think it's very important to just zoom out, not get into the weeds. And I said, I alluded to this with the previous stream about like getting back to sort of broader principles of who you are, what society you want. It really, as much as the legal system, as, as flawed as it is, as problematic as it is in terms of access, right? Like in defamation law, right? We all know that like being defamed there are people who are defamed that have no ability to sue, okay? Tech companies, users are legally within their rights in so many ways. I've talked about the EULAs and I've talked about, part of the reason why I decided to, retrain and become a lawyer was because of the imbalance of power here with tech companies and users, right? And the overall direction, okay? AI is just jet fuel on top of that, right? And they keep arguing and they keep refusing and they keep doing the same things because nobody is stopping them, because what they've done is sort of distorted the legal process and they don't want anything to get to the courts because they will lose, okay? Again, it just takes one case, it takes the right case, and it's a house of cards. A lot of this stuff is a house of cards. They use arbitration and that process to fuck over people, right? But they also just have more resources. They have unlimited money and resources, and there's always someone who will that will do that. Okay, there's always someone who won't go. There's again schools of thought. Okay, I am going to make as much money as possible so I can then help my family. Some people, again, it comes down to values and, differing values, right? Some people genuinely believe and rationalize that if they become a millionaire and they sell their soul, that looking after themselves and their family is the moral thing to do. Okay? Not being, they can argue it, they can quibble it. That's a quibble of philosophy, okay? Are you that person? Are you, again, it's just like, well, are you a selfish person? Own it, okay? Don't hide behind virtue. Don't pretend, okay? Rationalize it. Justify it. Okay, cool. All right. You're that guy. Therefore, you're my enemy. It's really quite simple, right? Therefore, you should be stopped, right? It's not, I'm a good guy and let me use these philosophies and use these ideologies to justify it. It's like, no, own it. Same with being racist. Just fucking be racist. Say I'm being racist. Own it. At least then you'll get the consequences for that decision and not fool yourself. Stop deceiving yourself, okay? And just do it. Own it, okay? Anyway, I wandered off, but I'm just saying, but it does come down to, worldview at the end of the day. What society do you want? The fact that people just say, again, you can argue the quibbles, you can argue, all the little bits and pieces and the semantics of law, okay? But the fact remains, the people with the money, especially in the US, people with the money and the people with the resources can bankrupt you, and even if you're legally correct, okay? Especially if you're just morally correct and it's a question of law, okay? If you don't have the money, okay, you and the resources and access, you can't it doesn't mean you're legally right because you won in court. A lot of the time, especially with these tech companies, you'll see that with people like, especially like corporate law with Elon Musk and his team. I've talked about a lot of this before, but tech lawyers, particularly at the moment, in-house counsel, their job is to protect the company. Okay, like I couldn't do that work. Morally, I don't think I could do that work. Okay, because I know that I am not working in the interests of users. Those two, that is a cleavage. Okay, that the interests of users, much like the interests of let's align it with, say, simple Marxist analysis, which is that there is a cleavage of interests. Okay, this is cleavage theory. Have a look. It's far better than the oversimplified political spectrum. Cleavage theory is probably a bit better, right? Which is that there's a direct conflict between the interests of owners and workers, okay, or capital and workers, owners and employers and workers, okay. There's a direct cleavage with tech companies, okay, because their whole business model is built on like user data, behavioral data, and all that sort of stuff, and the interests of users, okay. They're not going to operate in the interests of users if they're operating in. This is socialist analysis. They're not going to operate in the interests of users if the interests of the shareholders are paramount, right? Same thing with digital agencies or anything like that, right? Or clients. I tried to set up these ethical alternatives. It's not like I haven't tried. And, I haven't tried to use the market to compete and try to compete. You can't compete, right, with unethical actors. You just can't, because I've tried. I spent years, like my last agency, like the premise was that we wouldn't do certain things, right? That we would be interest of users. And I've sat in meetings where the interests of users were always, when they had to choose between getting the lead, even if it was a shitty lead that was just like from, dodgy agency that wasn't even a real qualified lead. It was just an email address on a fucking spreadsheet, okay? These fucking agencies that just buy and sell lists, okay? When they are faced with a choice between that list and users' interest, they choose every single time. They will choose the list, okay? And that is a fact. And that's why, it's not like, these ideas that we haven't, like, I know I'm stammering a little bit. Hi, Stephen. That I'm stammering a little bit. If you're on LinkedIn and engaging, the comments don't come through. So you might want to jump over to YouTube. But anyway, if you're interacting, most people, let me go. This is why. Because I have ADHD and my train of thought disappears. But that's what a cleavage is. So a cleavage, you sign up, and another, here we go, here's another non-tech, non-sort of political cleavage. Well, nothing's non-political because cleavage theory is in political science. But a cleavage, like where there's just irreparable, irreconcilable differences, right? Which is that, so rural and urban is another common political cleavage. Not so much in the United States, but here definitely, right? You've got, urban versus rural cleavage, right? It used to be the case in the United States, but just not so much, right? But in Europe, you've also got, your farmers and your agricultural areas and cities and centres, right? That's a cleavage. The interests don't align, right? But some of those, and you only look at, and again, you can find common ground. There are things that you can find common ground, but it's more about when I say cleavage, think about a cleavage like just a cavern, like a gap. There's a gap in worldview, interests, various other things like that, right? And so I think I've gotten better because, back to the forum thing, back to having run forums, back to having seen literally every internet argument that ever existed, which is that I've just learned to identify when I'm seeing a cleavage. Okay, I've learned to identify when I'm seeing that this is just a never-ending forum bump conversation. There's not really much you can add, and that's why I do try to focus more on moving forward, because that's like, I know that this is, you're going to have I also know that is used as a means of distracting us from the solutions and distracting us and keeping us busy and not really getting us to think any deeper. And that's why when I try to add something of value that can't already be looked up, okay? Now, look, and anything can be looked up, okay? It's actually quite interesting, talking about AI, it's been interesting to see when I test some of my stuff with AI, and it's like, oh, yeah, I know what you mean, and it like spits out knowledge. It's quite scary that I'm like, oh, fuck, there are no original stuff. But anyway, I think getting clear, like this is a good use of these tools, a good use of ChatGPT, for example, okay, copyright issues aside, right? This is the public benefit is that overall you have more learning. You can, be on the shoulders of giants, as I've said before. No one's saying the tools themselves should be banned or are not valuable, okay, or that even they don't have immense value. It's how they've gotten their data, and it changes and shifts. A lot of the problems with OpenAI they've only kicked in because Microsoft and OpenAI, they got a valuation of $100 billion and that there was profit to be shared, okay? A lot of the grievance has got nothing to do with, and again, tech bros will gaslight us and say that it is about the data or about, all that stuff. But I alluded to this in the last stream, which is like, it's either you can't have both arguments. There's a cleavage between those two arguments, okay? Which is if it's for public benefit, okay, and you want to use public stuff and publicly owned, publicly available works, then you yourself are public and you pay it forward. That is the principle of the GPL, share and share alike. It's not take it, hoard it, and not give back, right? That's not the deal. That is not the social contract. And I think people need reminding of that, okay, which is that, the foundation of GPL, okay, and like, the internet, okay, in general, the vision for the internet, pre-corporations and pre-advertising agencies, and all this old school stuff might have been naive, okay? Obviously, I was sitting in Australia, using it. Obviously, Silicon Valley was, probably figuring out a lie to us all from the get-go, but I was sold on an idea that was that, we could share and share alike, build community, pay it forward, you stand on the shoulders of giants and work towards public good and public benefit, okay? So if you're using publicly available shit, like I don't think there's only again, who's going after the web archive? I'm not going, I have no problem with the web archive. Do you know who's going after the web archive right now? Corporations, okay? Corporations are going after it because of copyright, okay? That's clear cut. That's the bad guys. Corporations are hoarding and exploiting and and going after the web archive for that purpose, right? Ordinary users who have blogs are not going after the archive, and the reason is because we understand that there is a difference between public benefit and the general public good, okay, and a commercial benefit. Creative Commons differentiates between those two things, which is, free and open source and versus commercial use. There's very clear distinctions between those two things. And the way that you use those things matters. And that you get what I'm saying. So and then you've got public domain and various other things. And that's where the quibbles come in. But again, it's about remembering why. So the problem with internet arguments, back to why my brain went in that direction, was that people are in the weeds on it. Okay, it's not about, like I said, the quibbles of copyright law, the back and forth. There's an argument on both sides for over LLMs. There is a technical argument for whether the legal argument will come down to sort of technicalities and the technical ruling. The point of law will be, is an LLM a model that's statistical, or is it again, this is philosophical stuff, right? That is very dry and comes down to sort of engineering semantics. But when you're looking, if you zoom out, you go, okay, well, what kind of world do I want? Okay, is it the right thing to do to say that you're a not-for-profit, right? Say that you're doing things for public benefit. Say that you're doing all of these things, like with Facebook. Say that you just want to, connect people. Say that you're creating this thing and that, that selling bloggers on a win-win, okay, with blog networks and advertising, and then, cutting actual real bloggers out of the process and making and turning the internet into a garbage factory of clickbait, right? What do you want? What vision do we have for the internet? Is it going to be a cesspool of billboards and pop-ups and, technicalities and bad actors and malicious stuff and phishing and scams and MLM and, $27 ebooks on the obvious? Is that the kind of internet that we want? Or do we want to get back to the vision that we had? We drifted away from it. Like, that happens. We drift away. That happens in offline too. Like, society, there's no real differentiation between the two now, but, digital and offline, every so often we drift away from what our principles were, and we have to go through some pain, and we get back there, and then we try to figure it out, and we tweak it, and we go, okay, well, learn from that last time, okay, and try to make it better this time. And unfortunately, a lot of these AI tech bros refuse to learn from last time. They are just selfish, and they refuse to listen to people who've been there before. And that's the concerning part, because usually those people are sidelined. Usually those people are not, not powerful. Okay. The people who are just doing this are just, they might be outliers, whereas I need, because they, obviously own the tech companies, so they control the access to information. Silicon Valley is a fucking cult in its own right, of a worldview of people who should have been reeled in 20 years ago and weren't. Okay, so they thought that they could get away with it. But then you've got a combination of, autism. Let's not forget autism, memory holing. Okay, memory holing a lot of this stuff, which was, hey, yes, technically it was yours, but technically you can do what you want with it. But the implicit understanding of that contract, because contracts have explicit and implicit terms, right? And we're talking about the implicit stuff around the open source movement, right? Which was that the implicit understanding, this is where the social contract and those things fit, which was, don't be a fuckwit and pay it forward, okay? Don't exploit people. That is, if you are exploiting anything on the internet, okay, if you're exploiting it, you are against the principles of what the, the 1996, the Declaration of Cyberspace, okay? It was supposed to promote freedom. It wasn't supposed, and better ways of doing business, better ways of sharing information, better ways of talking to each other, having access to information and actually fucking reading it, not arguing and what internet do we want? And that's one of the things where my relationship with X has gone, okay, he's bringing about the worst, everything. Is bringing about the worst parts of the internet on purpose, okay? He won't be told, he won't listen, and he's hiding and cloaking it behind the principles that everyone agrees to, okay? He's misappropriating and ignoring the vision, which was that everyone had access to the internet, everyone could exist, and anyway, it's not again, this is just that brainworms from tech bros, brainworms, which is just techno-fascism at this point. But that rationalization that free speech is the ability to harass and abuse and show up in people's comments, that was never, that's poor etiquette for a start. It was just never a thing. Maybe I need to go back and do a basic, this is what my book is, by the way. The book is 12 rules for the internet and a few more. It's basically playing on the Jordan Peterson thing. Oh God, here we go. You're fine. It's not that simple. Okay. It's not that simple. I'm talking about what we were sold and what we orient ourselves. If you got conspiracy brain, then just don't bother. So the person said the internet was created by DARPA and it's become exactly what they wanted. Define who they is, okay? Who's they? They are probably dead by now because it was decades ago. Define it. Yeah, I know what these things are. They're just like, yeah, okay, hang on. Anyway, I'm ignoring it. So, get therapy. Stop being conspiratorial. Yes, I know what the federal government. Yeah, you're talking shit. Stop talking shit. Okay, you got brainworms. Okay, you need to hear this. You have brainworms. Okay, federal government is made up of people. Okay, it is diverse. It has like thousands of people in it. Okay, stop being read stuff. Okay, it's more complicated than that. I've just spent how long explaining political cleavages, okay, and how people are mostly good, okay? You got brainworms. Go read, go be specific. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, ask ChatGPT to steelman what I've said. Okay, so just knock off the brainworms, guys. Go hang out in the fucking Jeffrey Epstein spaces. Don't bother me, okay? I couldn't be less interested in that cooker shit, okay? Your brain's cooked. You're cooked. Stop it. Stop being like go talk to Russell Brand or something. All right, go have that worldview affirmed over there. Okay? So you've got the like the never-ending forum bump again, which, creates these types of problems. And then you've got what do we want to be? What do we want to do collectively? What do we want to be? Personally, I want it so people can't just, come in and derail and distract. And, I want people to like read and engage with the actual material. And, I want people to be free to speak, but I want there to be some norms around the fact that just talking shit isn't free speech. Like, you can't just dribble shit 24/7 and not expect people to, stigmatize that. I mean, you don't just sit there, this is a social situation, okay? This is a back and forth. It's not just yours to take. And in terms of taking, you're also taking people's time, you're taking people's energy, you are taking, you're robbing people of life seconds every time you waste that, you're wasting people's time, okay? So why don't you, this is, again, it's the same worldview, okay? Which is that it's all about me. It's all about my thoughts. It's all about my ideas. I won't read anything. But what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll waste everyone else's time. I'll steal their code. I don't know anyone anything. And therefore, fuck the government because I don't want to live in society because I'm a toddler. Okay? And it's like, well, no, that's not how this works. The way that these things work is that institutions are fallible and they fail, but they are generally pretty robust. They have evolved over time. We can always do better, okay? We can, show up and design a better system then. Don't just fucking try to tear it down. Don't be an idiot. And it's like, well, how do we coexist? How do we put gates around things so that people are their best selves and able to be their best selves, right? So, okay, I'm being scolded by someone on the internet. Oh, no. His username is Outlawed Thoughts. He's a thinker. Yeah, and also your family worked with the government during the creation of the internet. You know what? Knowledge isn't genetic, obviously. My dad's a doctor. Okay, that's not how genetics works. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to argue with this. So it's knowledge isn't genetic, mate. So experience isn't genetic. Where are we? Can I get this? I'm not exceedingly closed-minded. You're a cooker and a conspiracy theorist. Okay. All right. Blocked. So, blocked from chat. New year, new me. Not tolerating it. I just don't need to tolerate it. Okay? It's not what we're talking about. Stop derailing my shit. Okay? And again, it's the mindset. It is like, this is the exact thing that, okay, this cooker has inadvertently brought us back on topic, which is, what kind of person are you? Are you somebody who goes in public and just talks shit at people, takes their time, takes their resources, goes, yoink, I'll take that. Okay? Oh, look, there's some data. That's mine now. I abide by the rules of finders keepers, losers just jealous. Okay? Or do you operate in a society where you care about other people? Do you actually give a fuck about anyone but yourself? Do you care that, like I'm always mindful, like, yes, this is my stream, okay? I won't go on to other people's streams or other people's things and monopolize their time and steal their stream. I start my own. I go, okay, I've got something to say, okay? You can show up, not show up. Sorry, my back hurts. Oh, you can show up, not show up. That's fine, okay? I appreciate every second of your precious life that people give me, okay? I appreciate it, especially when I try to, struggle to get to the point and I waffle and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not entitled to people's time and I'm not entitled to people's energy. And again, you'll see that this is a whole, and this actually comes back to what I'm trying to talk about, which is the mindset of these people. What mindset do you fit in? Where am I somebody who is transactional, all about what I can get in return? Everything is mine for the taking. Ultimately, it's just selfish, okay? Guys who just argue and insult women and take their time and again, the people, oxygen thieves, okay? Energy thieves, energy vampires, people who just don't understand that what they're doing is actually stealing life seconds away from other people, okay? I have a limited lifespan as it is. I don't do that, okay? Yes, but if I do that, I will do it on my shit, on my stream. I won't show up in people's replies and waste their time. I won't show up in people's chats and waste their time. I won't harvest people's art and use it for myself. I will try to pay it forward, okay? What is less closed-minded than that, my friend? I'm putting that to you, okay? Which is that I'm actually a decent person and I'm open-minded. You're just a thief of energy, time, resources, attention. You can't be bothered going and looking stuff up. So you can't go onto someone's stream and go, you know what are they saying? Okay, maybe you just use some of your own self-efficacy and go, you know what, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to not waste this person's time and disrupt their stream and like argue with them in their chat. What I'm going to do is go, oh, she said something. What's that? I'm going to go look that up. You have literally every tool at your disposal to do that now. And you don't. Elon Musk won't even eat supposedly the smartest man on earth, can't even look up why people might have a problem with him saying illegals, okay? He can't even be bothered looking it up, okay? What a waste. Okay, you don't want illegal immigrants, why don't you share some of that fucking wealth then so people don't want to go to the border? How's that sound? Oh, no, of course not, because he's a thief and an energy thief and an emotional vampire, okay? Doesn't mean I don't have some substantive praise in various areas, like with him. I think he's got brainworms. He's been fucked in the head by these other people who feel like they can just litter your fucking feeds with bullshit and aggression and, don't think that they belong in a society. It's like, those people they've taken over. They've been given too much, we've been too permissive about these behaviors because we like the tools. We like, but it's like, no, you're in a society. Stop it. We need to sideline that because again, I think that, again, I've said this before, we're all forced to behave and pretend that these people aren't irritating and annoying and don't completely disrupt everything. People who argue on the internet, okay, and I'm not the accidental forum bumper, the deliberate ones, okay? The people who go in and deliberately start shit everywhere, okay? On Twitter, on social media, they know, they went through and read that fucking thread that was there and they deliberately going in to start some shit. Those people need to be stigmatized and, they're just thieves of time, okay? I want to remind you, we've all got limited time on this earth, okay? What are you doing? Why are you acting like a flasher? Okay, now I've used this before. Are you the person who, just because someone is on the internet and just because the comments are open, it doesn't mean that you can just go up to people and start waving your dick in their mouth. We have a society, we have manners, we have laws, we have norms around what is and isn't appropriate. Okay, and it's the same thing with, it's like, I'm not going to, if I walk out to the shopping centre, okay? And some guy goes, well, you're in public, therefore I'm going to walk up and punch you in the face. That guy is arrested and stopped. He's taken by security. And also, people around him don't think, oh, well, she was well, let's not see. That intersects with misogyny. There's a lot of people would say, well, she shouldn't have been there. But, let's just park that for a minute. But, women shouldn't be out in public at all. What's she doing out in public for? Why is she saying stuff? Why did she even post that if she didn't want to be argued with? I don't know. Put your dick away. That's a mindset. That is a worldview. That is a mindset that needs to be stigmatized. And this is related to AI and the way that they have sort of harvested all of this data from LLMs, and they're gaslighting us into saying that it's like, no, it's not yours. Okay? You did it with data. You did it with this stuff, and now you're gaslighting everyone. And it's like, no, it's like fucking this data. It's like, oh my God, fucking hell, your brain is cooked. Get some therapy. Turn off your phone. Read. Or go and hang. I swear to God, there was like 8 Epstein fucking spaces. It's like, oh, what the fuck? Who cares? Oh my God, this stuff. And also the deep state at the moment, if you read the 2025 project, even regardless of what is true and what in any of these things, okay, it's a funnel for the far right, this stuff. Don't participate. Stop dragging your friends into fascism, okay? Please just stop, okay? Doesn't matter if it's true at this point. It's the same thing. Okay, there we go. So the Claudine Gay thing is a good example of that. Academic plagiarism, yes, bad. Academic misconduct, bad. From what I can see, those charges were fairly minor, okay? But you're arguing about the quibbles of plagiarism. That's what fucking, disinfo people want you to do. What you need to understand is that she was a target and then they found stuff. Okay, so what happens is, and I've talked about this before with Twitter and stuff, with the, if you're a target, they will find something, they will fucking mass report you. They will, like that. I've talked about this before about how mass reporting, like troll farms and stuff, what they will do is they make you a target, but what they'll do is they'll keep reporting your account. Report your account, report your account, report your account, report your account, report your account. And then all you need to do is trip up. So you could be doing something fairly benign, fairly normal, but it technically breaks the rules, okay? In my case, it was, at real Donald Trump send nudes and using the word cunt and like making a joke, okay? And so they just report and report and report and report and report and report. Yeah, technically it broke the rules, but they were mass reporting, okay? That's the same thing with Claudine Gay, okay? Now, am I sympathetic to the head of Harvard? Fuck no. Probably a cunt, okay? Doesn't matter. Not the point. The point is that she was a target because of her race and because of her position on Israel, okay? And because she would refuse to, toe the line, okay? She was a target and then they went digging, okay? Now, I would put this rhetorical question to most people, which is that, you know what? If you're the only reason why your data is not weaponized against you, the only reason why you are functioning, and the only reason why you don't see a problem with a lot of this like collection of your data is because you're not a target. The second you are a target, all of this stuff can come back and like destroy your life, and that is that is not acceptable. Okay, and it is linked very much to this data stuff, which is that. If you're a target, do you want a world where people you don't like, where people can any kind of target, okay? You get on the wrong side of the IDF in this case, okay? You've seen it with your own eyes, okay? You get on the wrong side of an argument and they go for you, and then what they do is they dig through your private data, your texts, your fucking your friendships, your relationships, your one-nighters, your Tinder account, your fucking chats, every little bit of like anything that you've done, everything that you've done with, everything you've Googled, okay? And suddenly everyone's going, well, she shouldn't have Googled that. Oh, she shouldn't have done that. She shouldn't have watched that Pornhub video. Okay? All right? Yeah, you're arguing about the thing, not the actual bigger problem. And that's the argument with Claudine Gay. Okay? Which was that she was precisely a target by these fuckheads who abuse. They deliberately, Christopher Rufo particularly has said that was the plan. This is why it's so backwards and why I get so frustrated with lefties, okay, arguing the quibbles of plagiarism. Yeah, no one's disagreeing with it. Okay, I think that I agree, but that said, I mean, there's from what I can see, the charges aren't that serious anyway. Would I expect better of the president of Harvard? Absolutely, yes. Okay, but it's a separate issue. It's got nothing to do. It's at some point the context matters, and this is what the far right does. Talking about closed-minded, Mr. Outlawed thoughts. Yes, I'm sure you're very edgy with your very risky thoughts. Okay, that happen to comply with everything that the fucking most dominant political party in the most powerful country in the world wants you to think. You're a rebel. Good on you. You're an independent thinker who only consumes memes about them. And probably buys every pump and dump crypto that exists as well, thinking that you're fighting the man. Anyway, so roasting this guy. Again, I'm straw manning. He's anonymous. An anonymous straw man showed up in my chat, and it's a gift. Okay, if it was an individual, I would, like you guys know that if it was an individual, I'd be nicer. All right, this guy's just fucking cooked. So anyway, if it was one of my regulars, you guys know me well enough to know now that no, I'd still probably tell you to fuck off because I kind of. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, about, the point with Claudine Day, okay, not with Claudine Gay, was the fact is that you've got it backwards, okay? And this is back to how they want you arguing in the never-ending forum bump over the details, where that's what the thought termination is. With this far-right shit, okay, they can't win the macro. I've talked about this before. They can't win the macro argument where you go, what kind of person are you? What world are you bringing about? What solutions are you asking for? They cannot say that. They cannot reveal that. They cannot, because most people will go, that's horrible. No, if you look at the project, 2025 project, okay, Leisure Miller, she's a JD in the United States. She actually did a good breakdown on it. I like that, okay. This is not it's there. It's written in plain sight what the kind of Handmaid's Tale bullshit that the Heritage Foundation want to bring about, okay? It is right there. They launder it through people who are reasonable, thinking that stuff is reasonable, okay? They use the fucking trans issue with feminists. They use these fucking cleavages. They use them to get you doing mouthpiece shit for shit that's more sinister because they're pulling you into the funnel. This is the thing that I keep trying to explain. Okay, so it's not about plagiarism. It is about the fact that they made that woman a target and they didn't stop, okay? They gave her the Bud Light treatment, if you were. And then I saw this with Radfems, with over Dylan Mulvaney, where it's like, okay, it's not about the trans issue. It's about the fact that they harassed somebody, made them a target and destroyed. It is the behavior. Not the belief, the behavior, okay? Cults are not about the belief. They are about behavior, okay? They use the belief to sweep you into the cult, okay? And then you find yourself, engaging in certain behaviors and, again, cults behave a certain way. Again, the way that it's defined. The way that you define a cult is it's not, you can build a cult around any belief, okay? Religious, secular, nothing, okay? You can build a cult around anything. Fucking internet proves that, okay? Literally everything is a fucking cult. But cults behave in a certain way, which is with groupthink, with thought-terminating cliches, with milieu control. They control the information. They behave. They harass outgroups. They scapegoat. They do all of these things. That's a cult. So if you're sitting around and going, well, actually, it's plagiarism. Yeah, it's no more plagiarism than Scientology is about a fucking personality test. Okay? It is not the same thing. They made her a target and they found a thing that you pushed, which was the quibbles of plagiarism. It's the same thing with AI, with this copyright law shit. Pushing the quibbles of copyright law, getting you to argue like, you know, whatever semantics on the internet in a never-ending forum bump, okay? And making it so that, you know, people are distracted from the bigger picture, which is that this is wholesale exploitation and theft by people who said one thing and did another and are now valued at $100 billion. Okay? It is it's really, if you can't argue up at that level of simple morality, and I'm not talking about the quibbles of philosophy, okay? Again, the guys that do this will go into quibbles. They will talk about fucking deontological fucking worldview versus a consequentialist world. It's like, shut the fuck up! It's wrong! You're a bad person and your motives, and just stop lying. People lie to themselves with theory, okay? They lie to themselves with philosophy. They lie to themselves with semantics. And what they do is they'll sit there and they'll quibble on the internet, okay? And they'll pull you into a funnel because you're sitting there going, well, that sounds true. And then you, again, this is how James Lindsay does his thing and how they recruit in that area, which is that he just says lots of big words that anyone who knows what he's talking about knows is full of shit. He's just lying. It's not what it means. But they use and Jordan Peterson, they use these terms and people just like a thought termination and they go, oh, yeah, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. He's got to pick, okay, I don't have time to really look into that. Okay, well, he must be saying like the right thing. It's like, no, he's cherry picking. He's using jargon. This is why you should be suspicious of people who just hide in jargon and argue quibbles. It's why if you watch me online, you'll know that I don't engage in it. I can do it. I understand it, but that's not what it's for. I'm not arguing on the internet with dickheads in their never-ending fucking quest to get their dick out in my face. Fuck off. No. Okay, I'm not. It's not because I can't win it. It's because it's A, pointless, and B, also like it's not good faith. You're not engaging in good faith. It's backfiring. It's soda water. So I'm gonna burn. No, but you get what I like. It's like I know. I'm not going to argue with you on quibbles. Because it really, some things are just about principles, okay? And just because I'm simplifying it and zooming out doesn't mean I don't understand the details, okay? Hi, Zach. I've had this for ages, okay? I've had it for ages and I bought it at a party store and I love it. It is just such a great prop because you get into it and you get intense and you go, all right, and have a drink. It was like, it's just one of those like hen's night party shop things. It's not very good quality, but it's like best money I ever spent. But it's just like, aside from the dildo that I have, that's actually not a drink bottle. No, I'm kidding. No, but I'm saying it really, I think that this is the problem, just overarching, which is the lies we tell ourselves, okay? And anything can be rationalized with theory, okay? Anything can be rationalized behind sort of a legal argument, okay? And anything can be rationalized behind quibbles. But, you know, it's harder to just go within and go, you know what? Hold a mirror to yourself and hold a mirror and go, you know what? Do I like who I am? Do I, you know, the way that I go through the world, is this who I wanted to be when I was a kid? Okay. Do I, you know, what that person is telling me that what I'm doing is wrong. Well, I'm going to take that on board and go, am I falling into fascism? Because, you know, I'm going to look up how that happens. I'm going to reflect on that and go, okay, well, my mum, my sister, my friends, half of the internet, experts, the government, teachers, you know, everyone is saying that maybe I have been radicalized. Maybe I have. Shit, I should look that up and go, all right, well, you have access to that information. Now with AI tools, this is the upside of AI. Do you know what AI tools do? You can ask it anything. It doesn't judge you, okay? You could go and open ChatGPT and say, hey, my friends have told me that I'm radicalized and that I'm like falling into the far right. Why would that be? Can you ask, can you give a prompt, right? I could give you a prompt if you want. Why would they be saying that? Can you check? Can you ask me some questions and determine whether I am? If you are a good faith person and you are doing the work and looking and, all of that stuff, you can go to Bing and ask that. Okay? Am I at risk am I at risk here? Why is everyone saying this? What is that person? Because I don't expend energy. I've got any number of things that I could be doing right now. Okay? I could be making money, become a patron. I could be making money, right? For a start. I could be, reading more literature. I could be reading more research papers. I could be spending time with my children. I could be doing literally anything. And right now I'm sitting here spending the time to warn people and tell them that they're falling into a rabbit hole, okay? Because I care about that. Okay, it happens to be something that I care about. The same thing with AI. I think that we can do better. I said this in the last stream. I think that we, without this fucking, oh yeah, what are you going to say? Oh, well, it's all them. It's all fucked. Yes, it's by design. Oh, woe is me. Well, it's easy to be nihilistic because if you're nihilistic, you don't have to do anything. You can just sit and whinge, okay? Yeah, okay, cool. DARPA did it. All right, cool. So what are you going to do to fix it? Fight them. Work on it. Do something. Get off your ass. Get off my stream. Do something. Okay. And it's like, okay, well, we can change it. And I could think that we can, I think that you can just get people thinking like Stephen. There you go. Isaac, people that are here go, you know what? How could, does what she's saying, how do I interface with the world? Am I exploiting people? Am I rationalizing? Again, I'm not saying you guys are. I'm just saying like generally, it is really good. I do it habitually. I know I don't look like someone who's got a lot of self-awareness. A lot of this is just a performance and stuff, but I self-audit a lot, right? Sorry, my phone's going off. And I use my phone for camera. But self-audit and go, am I who I wanted to be? Is this who I want it to be? And how can doesn't have to be an extreme thing. It just can be a little thing. Hold a mirror and go, what? Get into the habit of again, I tend to do this. Now, a lot of the reason why I appear more defensive online than I would like to be is because there's just so many bad faith people, especially, and I am actually, my heuristics are pretty well refined to the point where I can know where I can read subtext and intent, 99.9% of the time in a comment. Again, 30 years of all of this stuff, you get good heuristics, especially around like dudes who are using certain language. There's always a subtext attached to the way that they interact. You'll notice that I mirror behavior. Like you'll see that if someone replies to me in a certain way, I reply back in a certain way. I mirror, right? Don't always get it right. So, I'm human. Everyone has bad moods or, and usually when it's like I've gone after a guy or I'm, like I've just told him to fuck off, it's usually because it's like the 10th guy to do that day, like it's just a matter of like, it's hard being, anyway. But for the most part, I do try to mirror and model certain behaviors and, but I do try to steel man the arguments. Most of the time, the arguments are quite tedious and old, and I know why they're doing it, and they're doing it because they're just trying to derail the conversation, right? But if you've got a legitimate point and you want to go back and forth, you'll notice that I'm pretty chill about like this guy's like a DARPA. It's easy to make a statement about like a general statement like that. Yeah, we know that like the internet was designed by DARPA, but there was also a whole movement with like the open source movement. I'm talking about the open source movement. I'm talking about Aaron Schwartz. I'm talking about the Declaration of the Independence of Cyberspace. I'm talking about the counter movement around that. It's not that simple, okay? And And so it's, I'm talking about the other stuff. I'm not talking about that. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, the country was built on slavery and fucking like whatever. It doesn't mean that that's what I'm talking about right now. Okay, it doesn't nullify, like every Western democracy was built on slaves and exploitation, and I would argue still is, right? Doesn't mean that I can't advocate for it to be better, and that I don't think that this is, that these systems can't be improved, and that they're not marvelous, right? Like the thing that upsets me the most about America, right? I said this a little bit, but I didn't articulate it very well yesterday. Yesterday. Yesterday means last stream, for those that are new. I wasn't able to articulate how I felt because America has always been optimistic. So regardless of what it goes through, they're always white knuckling it. They're always, like I said, they're always like on the brink, right? But America has always been a beacon of optimism, right? So to watch, it's like when you watch someone who used to be like great, they used to be like, like everyone's got that sort of friend. Well, yeah, like a cooker, like someone who become like they were before pre-COVID, they were like easygoing and chill and happy and a beacon of positivity, and they go online and they just implode and they become horrible to be around, and it's just a waste, right? Watching someone, like fall into addiction or be radicalized or anything, they fall and they become a shadow of themselves, and it is like it's for America, it is very much that, like a love for America, watching something so, again, imperfect, corrupt, fucking, all that stuff. As a system, okay? Again, built on slavery, all those things. Yes. But those tools exist to evaluate those systems and make them better and improve them, okay? You got to take the feedback on board, make it better, okay? DEI shouldn't die. It should be baked in, okay? It is feedback. Look at critical theory as feedback on a system to try and make it better. If you are using any ideology to justify certain behavior, this is belief versus behavior, okay? If you're justifying tearing shit down that mostly, sometimes, occasionally, mostly works, but it's just, if you're using it to justify tearing shit down, ruining stuff, spoiling stuff, exploiting people, then it doesn't matter what ideology you've got. You're just a shitty person. And it really is that simple. You're a shitty person. Now, capitalism just happens to reward shitty people more than others, okay? It's not even, it's empty at the moment to say capitalism, because I don't think that it's necessarily an accurate, we don't have a free market right now. Okay? Again, like there's nothing more utopian than capitalism, like socialism and they're utopian views, right? I tend to be a market socialist. I do believe that, I believe in some, economics, right? But we don't, this anarcho-capitalist stuff needs to be reeled in, and urgently, because the stakes are too high. Okay. Because it's not your right to take stuff from people. Other people exist. Don't be selfish. Learn to share. Like this is toddler shit. This is shit that 3-year-olds learn. Okay. This is toddlers, toddlers are running the world. Okay. I've had more sense out of a 4-year-old than I've had out of most fucking libertarians. I'll tell you that now. US libertarians, right-wingers. Anyway, I wandered off. What was I talking about? I got to go. I got to piss soon, but I'm trying to keep it under an hour and a half, but yeah, I think that's good. I really need to wee. Oh, it sprayed in my face. There you go. There you go. Join my OnlyFans. No one wants to see that shit, seriously. I should set up an OnlyFans where you pay me to keep my clothes on. I swear to God, you don't want to see that shit. I'm middle-aged and I lost a bunch of weight, believe it or not. You don't want to see that shit. You don't want to see my arms or anything. I need a full body lift. But I can't afford to write a book, let alone get a body lift. So anyway. But I really, again, this is my frustration. It's like people who think that because you zoom out and make things simple, and win at that simple level, which is, who are you as a person? Why are you exploiting people? That's my baseline morality, is to not do that to people. Okay. No one's perfect. I'm not a saint. No one's claiming that. But I win the macro argument, which is that being selfish is bad and exploiting people is bad. And regardless of how you wrap it up in ideology and quibbles and law and, all that sort of stuff, that a lot of that is structural, but it's just like, well, which one are you? Which person are you? What kind of person do you want to be? Okay. Who hurt you that made you this way? Work on that. It's not yours to take. And I find it bizarre that even when, this is the thing I find, okay, this is the thing that you should reflect on. I alluded to it, which was that when someone comes to you and says, that upsets me, that hurts me, or, you're driving me out of business, or you're actually affecting my income, or I object to what you're doing with my work. The answer is not, fuck you, I can do what I want, and here's why. The answer is, oh shit, I'm sorry, how can we figure this out? Right? If you're somebody who goes, fuck you, I could do what I want, stop me, that's a sociopath. That's a psychopath. Okay? Also, probably not equating the two, but again, some of it is fucking autism. But I'm not saying autism is psychopathy. I'm not saying they're the same thing. I'm saying that the intention is different. Okay, a lot of this stuff with tech bros, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I know that tech bros aren't like this. Okay, the reason why I'm saying things like this to get them to think is because I do know that things have been memory holed. I do know that there's this bubble that's been created of 2 decades where, they've forgotten the rules. They have forgotten that there's laws. They have forgotten that morals exist. They've dehumanized users, and they went from connecting people to joining up, to network mapping users in the space of 20 years. And that has a dehumanizing and depersonalizing impact on your worldview. This is why I've always been remember that there are humans on the end of these things. It's why I'm a human-centered person, human-centered design. It's what I do. Empathy. There are users. There are people with dreams, ambitions, goals, pain, families, right? At the end of everything that we do. Okay, it doesn't matter what you do. There are humans impacted by what you're doing. And it doesn't matter how much you turn them into code and you think that they can be replicated with robots and one binary fucking code, and you can script a fucking, that humans are just an engineering problem. They're complicated, not complex. Okay. And if you just do enough math, you might be able to figure out why she won't fuck you. Okay. Humans don't work that way. Okay? It matters that, the way that it's the way that you orient yourself. Okay? And it ultimately comes down to who you are as a person. Now, VCs can go fuck themselves, and they should be actually not refusing to invest in this stuff. They won't, because they want money on their investment. But what we can do is not allow them to have public goods if they're going to take VC money. If they take VC money, they're on their fucking own. They're not allowed to use public goods. They're not allowed to use our data. We need to attach a cost. Okay, this is an externality. They need to attach an actual cost, an input cost to things that are public goods. So if you're going to take evil VC private capital, you got to pay licensing fees. It needs to be, you can't have it both ways. If it's for public good and you are paying it forward and you are doing the right thing, and public incubators and various other things, and you benefit from public, universities or whatever, right? Open source stuff, then maybe, share and share alike applies, and you're doing the right thing, and you're doing the right thing. You're working towards public good. That was where OpenAI did the bait and switch, was that they said that they were doing this, and they moved and went and got $100 billion. It's not that hard. People want to cut now. They were fine with it. They just did a bait and switch. Same thing with Facebook and Twitter. And that's where the data dividend comes in. I've got so many essays to finish, but one is talking about data dividends and how that can work. But it's well, yeah, figure it out. Figure it out. You got to decide who you are, because when you're faced with these existential problems and faced with these big problems, same with America. What are you? You don't want to go this way. You know, like, you don't want to do this. It sucks. You know, like America was a beacon of, like, you know, yes, beacon of shit, but also like, you know, the America that I grew up seeing. And again, yes, it was like, it's Hollywood and it's like a propaganda, all that, you know, but it's like, I don't want to watch you decline and, you know, die in your own shit. You know, I want to see you come through it. You know, I want you to be better and do better. And, you know, and it's like, stop being so fucking nihilistic and try to be better and stop doing this. That's all I can say. Is like, and it's like, for everyday people, look at who you're actually supporting and helping. Why are you talking about fucking the quibbles of plagiarism and saying that Christopher Rufo has a point? Christopher Rufo never has a fucking point. Ever. James Lindsay never has a point. They're Nazis. Stop it. Okay? And I joked about this and I said, like, I'd dye my hair 7 shades of blue and walk around with a fucking dildo strapped to my face all day in a playground. If it meant that I'm in opposition, if that was the opposite to fucking that lot. Who gives a fuck? No. They're fascists. 0. No. They don't have a point. Ever. We can talk about the points over here without the fascists. Okay? I'm serious. Okay? It's like, no, they never have a point. That's how it operates, is to find the thing that you think they've got a point, and then they pull you in and get you arguing, you know, the details while you're losing sight and you're fucking, you know, sucking everyone in. Stop it. Look it up. You've been radicalized. You're melted. Stop it. Get your brains back. Now. I said so. All right? Stop it. Stop bringing about the apocalypse. Let's maybe make things better. How's that sound? I'm going. I've got to piss. Thanks for watching. I love you. I'll be back on Monday. Thank you for your precious life seconds. I don't even remember what the fuck I was supposed to talk about, but I'm sure I talked around the point. And I will be back on Monday. I love you. Take care. I'm going to go piss my pants now. I'm 45. I can't hold it. I've had 3 children. I can't fucking hold that shit. But anyway. Bye, guys. I love you. Take care. Let's have hope. Even if it's only a handful of us and most of the people are cooked and think that the government's coming to get them, you know, we can at least decide to not accept that. Let's fight. Let's go. Let's just, you know, let's be like the fucking peace and love people, right? Hippies smell. Let's not do that. Let's not be stinky hippies, but, you know, let's take some of it and go, we can change. We can say, I don't accept this. And we can, like, you know, we're grown-ups, right? Some of us have actual jobs and actual influence and can say stuff and do stuff and go, no, I don't want to do that anymore. Fuck you. If you're a worker, you have less power to do that. Okay, I'm not neoliberaling you. I'm just saying, if you're in that position, you have power. Tell them to fuck it. Tell them to knock it off. Okay. Anyway, oh, that's right. I was going to talk about AI recruitment tools. I have to talk about that next time. Anyway, I'm busted. I've got to go. Love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. Become a patron if you like, and all those things. Okay. Bye. Fuck, I'm going to die. I'm pissing. Ah! Bye! Dude. Ow. I'm trying to hold it. I gotta wait 30 seconds. Motherfucker! Ah, my button's broken. It's all good. I love you. I feel bad for being mean to that guy. But fuck it. People need to be told that they've lost their minds a little more. Tell them they've lost their minds. It's okay. Because they have most of the time. Love you. Peace.